Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Plan Room's latest webinar. I am Emily Dixon, the Director of Business Development with One West, and this webinar is coming out of the Plan Room, one of our program initiatives. We're really excited to have you all here this morning, and we thank you for taking time out of your Saturday to join us. Just a little housekeeping to start us off. All of our attendees, you guys are in listen only mode. So that means if you have questions, you can pop them into the chat. We and our panelists will all be keeping an eye on the chat and the Q&A. We also have a question and answer session set for the end of the session. So make sure you keep those questions rolling in and we will pose them to our speakers and panelists at that time. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started and tell you a little bit about what we have in store for you today. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Plan Room to begin with. The Plan Room is an initiative born out of One West with several other partners. One West as an organization was created in 2014 and is focused on commercial and retail real estate development in the west end of Louisville with a people-oriented focus, not just thinking about the buildings and the spaces, but thinking about the businesses and the residents in those areas and making sure that all of our work is focused towards those needs. Our business development department includes the Plan Room, but we also have programming for young entrepreneurs who are in a variety of industries. Our business technical assistance is for businesses and business owners in and around the West End. And of course, we last year during the pandemic, we started our MBE Procurement Conference series, which has now kind of been folded into the Plan Room programming. And we also partner with the Minority Contractors Association of Kentuckiana, or MCAK, to provide support for their initiatives as they're starting up. So we have a pretty robust set of services available for business owners and entrepreneurs in and around the West End. The Plan Room itself is really focused on the construction and construction-related industries. So it's a business accelerator targeting minority-owned companies in construction, design, so architecture and engineering, and fields that are adjacent to construction, such as suppliers. So even if you don't install drywall, if you supply it, let us know and we can give you some assistance with your business. The Young Entrepreneurs Committee, which One West ran for mostly pre-pandemic for over a year, a lot of the business owners who were attending those were in the development and construction world, and we're looking for resources to connect with. And so the Plan Room is that connecting location. We have education courses such as this one, we have networking, we have mentorship, we have technical assistance. So that's direct technical assistance where you come in, you tell us about your business, and we can connect you with resources or describe what kind of opportunities are out there for your company. We want to make connections to work that's available, as well as building the capacity of your team on the construction side and on the administrative side. Our physical location is at 1815 West Broadway. You can see a couple of pictures there. We have a computer lab with 3D design software and other construction-related programs. We have some flexible space that you can use to meet together with somebody. We have a wide format blueprint printer, which we actually keep copies of a variety of projects that are happening in and around the city. So if you want to come and take a look at one of those and meet with somebody and talk about different specifications, our facility is available for that. You just have to schedule an appointment. And of course, right now, a lot of our programming, including this webinar today, are virtual because of our COVID-19 social distancing requirements. But we're looking to see that change at some point soon here. I'm sure a lot of folks are. The overall purpose of the Plan Room is to work on that resource pipeline and network within the minority-owned construction community with a big focus on sustainability. So that includes things like capacity building for your team, but also thinking about creative partnership structures and joint ventures. We also know that as more and more minority-owned businesses are growing, this will increase Louisville's participation in the local and the regional construction market. So people who are looking looking for diverse construction teams won't have to go outside of the city to find that. We also have a lot of income and revenue growth focused objectives within our programming. So I will hand the floor over to, oh, sorry for my slides issue there, to the manager of the plan room, Mr. Donovan Taylor. He has been a part of the One West Board of Directors. He is very well known in the city for his community organizing and business support, and actually comes from a legal background as well. So he's going to tell us a little bit more today about the plan room.
Thank you very much, Emily. Again, my name is Donovan Taylor. I currently serve as the plan room manager. And as much as Emily had to say, that our focus is mainly on existing businesses within the construction industry. We are a business accelerator, so we're just focusing on really upscaling our businesses to give them some growth opportunities and wealth building opportunities. Our focus is on business technical assistance as well as construction technical assistance, and our team is made up, headed by Emily, but we also have construction manager John Hilliard on our team, as well as our technical intern Tim Payne, and which has made our team very strong on really pushing the effort of the plan move forward, on really being intentional, good and quality resources to our clients to really build their work. As again, we focus on technical assistance, and as I would, our goal is really intentional on taking our clients, identifying their business goals, identifying skills, strategies, and resources by which they can begin to attain those goals. This effort is very, very collaborative. If we, not only if we internally, if we're looking at helping the clients through our technical assistance, but also connecting them with mentors and networking opportunities by which they can upscale their businesses. And then as well as it's really bringing them down to really kind of a resource pipeline of really not only helping our minority businesses, but really helping to just building up the regional construction market that would also be beneficial to the construction industry in the market as well. And what our streamline is really, our goal is creating just a streamline of opportunities for our business clients, and as well as our individuals in the construction market through training and networking, and really combine that into resources of where these individuals can find opportunities, how they can attain and best bid and submit proposals for these opportunities, land these opportunities, and build strong and quality relationships by which there's just continued total quality growth within the construction market. And we get this through, various ideas of events like this. We have in our virtual workshop. We typically have workshops twice a month, which may increase, just really based on the needs of our clients in the local business market to really help it grow. Networking opportunities like this to really understand the business, get skills, the ropes to know, the ropes to skip in the business. And I think in this capacity building internally, a lot of our businesses need some assistance, and as well working with our partners in the community and finding curriculums, certificate programs, and just strategies on wealth building opportunities for our small businesses to help them really succeed and have a chance in the larger market. And to become a client at the Plan Room, we basically ask you to visit our website at theplanroom.com and scroll down to become a client. You fill out the information form, and you will be hearing from me, and we'll set up an appointment, and we'll have our success plan and move from there. The Plan Room has, really is a collaborative effort. It would not be in the making without many of our great partners that has been working with us. Many of our business partners, KPFF, Interap, and 7 p.m. Group, our community partners such as the Louisville Community Central Center, as well as our state partners. We have the Kentucky Technical Procurement Center, which has been a great partner with the Plan Room and will seem to be a great benefit. And just we're looking to just build upon this. And so definitely, if you have anyone who would like to partner in this great effort, definitely have them to reach out to the plan room, and we think we can move forward on really building quality in the construction market and for our small business clients here in West Louisville. And we definitely, so the plan room is a nonprofit, so we definitely look for support. So you definitely can visit the plan room to give donations and become a partner with the plan room. And we definitely, I think this will be a great, really building a local economic system for West Louisville and the city at large. And we now want to move on to our guests today. And we're going to first start with Mr. Andrew Halls with the Housing Partnership, Inc., which is a nonprofit here in Louisville, focusing on real estate, housing development, on building affordable homes in the community. I'm very proud and very thankful to have him here with us today. And I will pass the stage on to Mr. Halls.
Well, thank you, Donovan. Thank you, Emily and Chen, for inviting us to participate in today's webinar. As Donovan mentioned, my name is Andrew Hawes. I'm the president and CEO of the Housing Partnership. We are a local nonprofit housing development company, and we've been very, active in the most recent 12 months in increasing our construction activities in West Louisville. And we would like to share some of that with you today. Let me share my screen. We for probably about the last 6 years, the Housing Partnership and its board has been trying to refocus its efforts and energies in revitalizing West Louisville's vacant abandoned properties. We've come up with an initiative called Beyond 9th, where we, as an organization, we're a nonprofit 501c3. We have been in existence since 1990. We were created by the first class of Leadership Louisville, and it has been a very sustained nonprofit organization and grown over the years. Our mission is to create affordable housing opportunities, and we do this by encouraging family stability, support communities, revitalization neighborhoods, and empower the local economy. We're a diverse organization in that we do real estate development, both single family and multifamily. We do development consultation for nonprofit and for-profit developers and helping them access federal resources. We provide homebuyer education and credit counseling to our residents. We are HUD approved. We have 3 staff on board with that. We also are very active in the home sales as well as lease purchase opportunities. And we are able to attract down payment assistance to help incentivize the work that we do. This slide, represents basically HPI's single family holdings in West Louisville. We have a little over 350 overall homes in the West Louisville footprint. The majority of them are lease purchase. Every one of the houses that we own are available for sale to the residents that live in them. We work with them very, in a very proactive manner in helping them access the homebuyer education and credit counseling, as well as down payment assistance. From a development standpoint, we've acquired quite a bit of properties over the last few years. I think this over this fiscal year and really going in for the next 12 months, we have about 110 single family homes that we will be having construction activities on. And we are definitely seeking to expand our contractor base, and we would love to entertain any of the participants on today's program to help us achieve the scale of work that we are going to do. I'm going to pass it off to our Chief Financial Officer, Patrick Cornett. He oversees our single family development, and he will talk about the some of the work that we're doing along with Paul Despain. So with that, Patrick, to you.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to share my screen. Are you all able to see my screen there? Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. As Andrew mentioned, I'm Patrick Cornett. Very happy to be here with everyone I am the chief financial officer, but I'm the vice president over our single family development. We do have a very robust business line developing a number of single family houses in West Louisville right now. On the current slide I wanted to talk through with you is kind of highlight our rehab standards. Because we are mission based and because we are working with lower income people, every customer we has is a lower income family. We want to ensure that when we sell a house to that end buyer, that they are going to be buying a very quality product, a very quality house. We want to make sure that the improvements will last for a number of years, 10 plus years, so that when they do own the house, they're not going to have to be spending a large amount of money for some time. We also want to ensure that when they are owning the house, their day-to-day costs, their lighting costs, their water bills are as efficient as they can be, once again, to try to help them be successful, as they move forward. And lastly, we are working in West Louisville. It does have, it has older housing stock. Security is very important to a lot of families living in West Louisville. We try to always install security systems in the houses. We put security doors on the front and the back. We will install privacy fences. We want to make sure that the families living in their houses are very happy with the product that they've purchased from us. I wanted to spend a couple minutes going through two examples of houses we've renovated in the past 6 months. 2202 West Oak is what we would call a heavy turn. The renovation cost on the slide says we spent $71,400. It was really closer to $90,000. This is what we would call a very heavy turn. This house had a lot of vandalism, a lot of water damage, mold had been growing throughout the house for a number of years. So, $90,000 is a pretty hefty price tag. It put in new electrical wiring, new plumbing throughout the house. All the walls had to be ripped out and rebuilt because of the mold damage. All new windows. And you can see from the before and after pictures, we are making dramatic changes to these houses. All new windows. So this would be an example. It's in the Park Hill neighborhood of a heavy turn. So we certainly need to work with vendors who can handle this heavy type of large project. Now we also have a lot of smaller, moderate sized projects, smaller projects as well. I want to show you a few slides of another house, 1825 Date Street. This house is in the California neighborhood. The renovation cost was around $47,000. So certainly not a small sum of money, but definitely smaller than $90,000. With this house, we would put in new mechanicals, put on a new roof. You can see that we tried to salvage what is salvageable. So in this picture, the cabinets were able to be salvaged. But this house also went through a lot of vandalism over the years. So, but once again, this is the kind of product we are making for our customers in West Louisville. Here's an example of a privacy fence. Both houses on either side of this one were vacant and abandoned, so we put the privacy fence up to give the owner of this house more privacy. On the next slide, I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about our contractor requirements. We are spending around $5.5 to $6 million over an 18-month period on both for sale housing to owner occupants and to houses that are going to be lease purchase houses. During that, to pull that off, we need to work with a lot of contractors, a lot of vendors. So having a robust pipeline of contractors and employees to get this work done is really important to us. So number one, we do need contractors to be licensed when appropriate. So if you're skilled, like if you're an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC technician, we need you to have your license. If we are hiring you to be a general contractor, we may need you to pull a building permit. So being able to be licensed with Metro Louisville is a requirement. Now, oftentimes we also are a general contractor. So oftentimes we will be the GC. We can pull the building permits and then we can hire you to be our subcontractor. So We have a lot of different ways you can plug in to work with us. We do require you to have insurance, workers' compensation insurance, liability insurance, automobile insurance. I know this can be challenging for some smaller companies, but it's something we do need to have in order to work with our vendors. We need you to have your own tools and your own equipment, your own trucks. You need to be able to come in to do the work. Demonstration of solvency and business acumen. We certainly want to work with companies that have capital. You know, our solvent can hold their receivables and their costs. That's preferred. That being said, that's not mandatory. We know a lot of our partners are smaller businesses. We are more than willing to work with you to try to help you get into this business. We will offer very generous payment terms. We will allow you to take draws throughout the process. We can pay within 2 weeks. And oftentimes we will, if you need us to buy the materials, we can buy the materials and supply those to you. In a perfect world, you would do that. But if cost reasons make it hard for you to do that, we certainly will step in and play that role. And if you are a new relationship that we don't know, that's okay. We just look for 3 to 5 referrals. 3 to 5 referrals or examples of jobs that we can look at. We certainly would likely start you off on a smaller job just to get to know you. Check in from time to time, but we have a lot of ways for you to plug in to work with us because we have a tremendous amount of work that we're trying to get done. And on the next slide, I wanted to talk about some project expectations. We do have a standard bid process. We are a little bit different because we have so much work going on right now. We don't require multiple bids on every single house. What we do is we do in-house estimates of scope. So we already know going into it what we think it's going to cost. We also have a lot of work going on. So the combination of the in-house estimates and the work we have going on allows us to be flexible with our bidding process. So if we come to you and ask you to do a bid, we're going to know what we think it's going to cost. As long as you're within 10% of that bid, we're likely going to, hire you to do that work. Compensating the work performed, the contract, will say that all work will be done in a workmanlike manner. That's a requirement. In the contract that you sign, you're representing to us that you are skilled in what you were hired to do. And we need you to be familiar with all federal, state, and local laws. So those are all very important requirements that we have. And lastly, we require 1-year warranty of your work. And we do require you to sign lien waivers when you're finished. So this is an example of a scope, a bid document we would present to you. We would ask you to look at each individual line item, figure out what you think it's going to cost, submit to us, and then we would review and find the best way to proceed. So with that, Emily or Donovan, I'll turn it back over to you all.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Greatly appreciate that as well. Very useful information. We now would like to introduce Ms. Renee Lindsay of the Metropolitan Sewer District, and we will pass it on to you, Ms. Lindsay. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me today, Donovan and Emily and the full One West team. I appreciate the opportunity to be allowed to speak here today. Again, my name is Renee Lindsay. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer for the Metropolitan Sewer District. I'm responsible for procurement, supplier diversity, as well as our storeroom activities. I'd like to share my screen. Can you see? Let me see, share. Can you see my screen?
It's pulling up, yes.
Okay. Hopefully it's in presentation mode. Okay, there we go. Okay, so MSD is our local wastewater, stormwater, and flood protection agency for the city. And for the sake of time, I just want to go over high level what the agency is responsible for. MSD has a service area of 376 square miles. MSD treats an average of 153 million gallons of wastewater per day for our community, with 29 miles of flood wall and levee protection, and 16 flood pumping stations. The Ohio River is kept at bay, protecting our home, school, and businesses. MSD's economic contribution to the region is totals about $4.3 billion over the next decade, with direct or indirect support of 3,100 jobs per year. I just wanted to give you just a little bit of that. MSD has a robust supplier diversity program. We have had our program in effect for the last 35 years. And just to give you a little historical spend data, we've spent $157 million with minority and women-owned businesses in the past 5 years. And in the past 5 years, we've spent $43.1 million with African-American owned businesses. In 2016, the MSD board commissioned a disparity study. That disparity study was complete in 2018 by Mason Tillman and Associates. And the disparity study found that there were statistically significant disparities on MSD's construction services, construction-related services, and commodities, materials, and services contracts at both the prime and the subcontract level. Thus, the results of the study provided a factual predicate for MSD to modify its supplier diversity program. So some of the recommendations that were made to the program was that we enhance our subcontracting goals for those companies that were statistically significantly found that there was a disparity, that we implement race and gender mandatory goals, that we also look at the way that we're working with our prime contractors and try to do things to try to help minority and women-owned companies be able to prime work with us. And also to formalize a community benefits program and to implement a small local business program. So I want to just kind of hit on some of those today. So with the disparity study, the subcontracting goals now are required on our construction projects that are estimated to be $150,000 and greater. So there's a goal of 20% of those contracts to have subcontracting goals of 18% with African-American companies, 2% with Asian Indian American companies, and 15% with Caucasian females. So that's a total of 35% subcontracting goals on our projects, on our construction projects. In addition, the disparity study recommended that we implement a bid discount for eligible minority and women-owned companies. And this is to incentivize them to minority and women companies to become prime firms. The purpose is to help build capacity, the growth of the firms, will help increase competition in our market, resulting in better pricing for MSD, and increasing our supplier base by trying to incentivize minority and women-owned companies to bid with us as a prime. And also correcting the disparity. So how does the bid discount work? It's applicable on materials, commodity services, construction, and construction-related contracts. And it's for those procurements that exceed $30,000 but less than $500,000. And the bid discount is applied during the price evaluations on bids submitted by eligible minority and women-owned companies that bid with us as a prime. So the eligible MBE bid price will be reduced by 10% for evaluation purposes only when they're bidding as a prime. And the maximum discount that MSD will allow is $50,000. So this tells you that MSD is serious about its program and its incentive to to encourage minority and women-owned companies to bid with us as a prime. This is supported by our mayor, it's supported by the MSD board, and it is part of our goals, strategic goals throughout the whole company. So we are serious about supplier diversity and working with minority and women-owned companies. To give you an example of, so the companies that are eligible for bid discount are the minority groups that are eligible are African Americans, are eligible for the construction related, as well as goods and services bids when they're bidding as a prime. Hispanic Americans, Asian Pacific Americans are eligible for the construction, as well as Asian Indian Americans, and Caucasian females are also eligible for construction related bids, or goods and services. And how does the bid discount work? So the bids by eligible firms will be reduced by 10% for evaluation purposes only. And we typically award to the lowest responsible bidder, or if it's an evaluated bid, that would still be part of that component. I wanted to include in this slide just an example of what we're talking about when we mean that we're going to reduce your price in comparison. So in this example, the engineer estimate is $200,000. The firm one bid price was $180,000, but this firm is not eligible for the bid discount. Firm two bid $185,000, and this firm is eligible for the 10% bid discount. So when you compare the bids, firm two's bid discounted by 10% would mean that we would subtract $18,500 from their actual bid price. So again, firm one bid $180,000, firm two with the discount, their price now is $166,500. Therefore, this bid would be deemed the lowest bid based on the evaluation here. Then, of course, the bidder must still meet all of our procurement policies. So if bonding is required, insurance requirements, all of those types of things that are required as part of our procurement process would be in effect as well. But as long as those things are met, bidder two would be the apparent low bidder here for this. Now, MSD would, if we're going to issue you a contract, it is going to be for the amount in which you bid, which was $185,000. So I wanted just to make that clear that you're not going to be losing money. MSD is willing to pay a little bit more money to incentivize minority and women-owned companies to work with us on a prime level. Just quickly on professional services with our disparity study, we didn't have enough information to establish full guidelines here, so we're continuing down the path of engineers estimate $50,000 or greater. There's going to be a MBE goal of 15%, WBE goal of 6%, and that participation is aspirational. So we're strongly encouraging folks to still meet the goals of 15 and 6 on those projects. For goods and services, that's for things that we buy to maintain our business. It could be chemicals, inventory supplies, custodial services, electrical, HVAC, mowing, anything that we need to run the business is what we consider to be goods and services. MSD typically does not have subcontracting goals tied to those contracts. We outreach to minority and women-owned companies to encourage them to bid with us as a prime. And in this particular area, the bid discount is applicable as well for those that are eligible for it. Bids are typically based on the lowest price or the highest evaluated bid. Oops, I think I went too far. MSD accepts certification from the companies that are listed here, the NMSDC and all of their affiliates, WeBank and all of their affiliates, SBA 8A certification, and we also accept certification from the Human Relations Commission when they do a desk review and a site visit. You must be registered with MSD prior to the bid opening in order to be counted for the subcontracting goals or the bid discount. All right, so I wanted to just talk about some of the upcoming construction opportunities. So MSD in this coming fiscal year, which starts in July, we are expecting to spend approximately $200 million on our capital spend. In the next 5 years, we're projecting $1 billion of spend. And the types of construction projects that are available are the drainage improvement projects. We have about $3 million that's allocated to that in this next fiscal year. So that's a lot of work, and those are typically smaller projects. This is a great opportunity for companies that are bidding with us and to take advantage of the bid discount. So we're always looking to diversify and create and to also bring more suppliers to the table to bid on this work. We have flood pump station work, sewer interception, sewer rehab, plumbing station elimination, to name just a few. This slide here gives an overview of some of the opportunities that that we have. So it lists the number of minority and women-owned companies that we have in our database that provide certain types of services. So we had a consultant to look at our 5-year program of work and also compare it to compare those opportunities with the minority and women-owned companies that we have currently in our database. So there's a lot of need for a few different things like paving, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, masonry, aggregate, trucking, just to name a few. So we are definitely always looking to diversify our businesses. We have a lot of opportunities for people to work with us. So we are asking those that are interested to certainly reach out to us so that you can get connected with some of these opportunities. MSD has adopted model procurement, and part of that regulation requires certain bonding. And in 2019, I just want to make sure that people do know this, that the Kentucky Legislative Branch raised the bonding requirement to $100,000 for certain bonds. So this means that if you're bidding as a prime with MSD and the engineer's estimate is below $100,000 or your project price comes in below $100,000, then bonding is not required on our projects. So I do realize that, you know, sometimes this is a barrier for people, but this is a way for you to come in to work with us because we have quite a few projects that may fall in that category, and particularly some of the dry projects. All right. So, and having said that, so all of our competitive bids that are over $30,000 are ran through our plan room sites. Right now, MSD is using 2 different plan rooms for different things. Goods and services and professional services, those are led through the Bonfire, and construction is led through the Lynn Imaging site for right now. So you'll need to go and register your business with those sites. And I would recommend that you register with both sites, and also select at least one commodity code so that you can be notified for those things, the types of services or goods and so forth that you provide. You want to make sure that you select all of those so that you don't miss out on an opportunity. Email notifications will be sent for everything that you have selected to be notified about. And those emails come from Bonfire or from Lynn Imaging. It does not come from MSD. So you want to make sure that you check that. And I would also recommend that you have more than one person to register themselves for those bid notifications. And the bid submittals are through the plan room sites, and, you know, hard copies of things would be delivered to MSD's main office. Another, just a little tip that I'd like for people to know, especially those that are bidding with us as a subcontractor or trying to work with some of the primes, because MSD is a public agency, you can always do an open records request and provide and get information that you're looking for. But you also have access to the plan holders list. So if you wanted to be proactive and send your quote or contact some of those primes that may be bidding on some of our work, then you can download the plan holders list and proactively do that. I provided these next couple of slides here just so that it'll give you information on how you go to Bonfire. Bonfire has training that's available. So if you're trying to get registered there and need some help, you can reach out to Bonfire, and they are great about providing that support. Also with Lynn Imaging, this is just kind of give you the landing page, and it'll provide simple instructions on how you get registered. And this is the only way that you're gonna know about projects through that MSD is letting is registering through these sites. And just coming soon, MSD is also going to be implementing a small local business enterprise program. It's race gender neutral. It'll be for smaller projects. We are taking it to our board on Monday, in fact, and once it's approved, then we'll provide that information to people as well. But just wanted to put that out there that that's coming soon, and it's another way for people to work with MSD. And for more information about doing business with MSD, you can reach out to John Allen. He is the procurement manager. His contact information is provided here. And if you are wanting to get listed, included in our database as a minority or woman-owned company, please reach out to Joy Walker. And they conduct a monthly How to Do Business with MSD. It's held the fourth Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. And you can register to send an email to John Allen to register for that. And I've also provided my contact information here as well. Emily and Donovan, I'd like to turn it back over to you all.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Renee. That was some great information that you just shared. And we have some great questions that have come from our chat as a result of our presentation. And one of our first questions comes from Mr. Martin Lindsay, and he would like to know of the opportunities for IT and technology businesses to become contractors with either HPI or and either Mr. Hall, Patrick, or Renee can handle that.
Yeah, so the question would be IT and technology businesses, how they could join our team and work with us on some of the work that we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Well, right now our focus is pretty much on bricks and mortar, housing construction, housing rehab. We're not, we're working with plumbers, electricians, drywall people who can hang cabinets, handle foundation issues, painting. Right now, we don't have any particular need for those types of services. So,
thank you.
MSD, of course, as a public agency, we have to bid things out or we'll piggyback on someone else's contract. And oftentimes, our IT department uses the Metro government's contract, or they might use the state. However, that does not mean that there's not an opportunity for someone to work with us. I would suggest that you reach out to me or to Joy or John, either one of us, and we can connect you with the IT department and talk to you about what it is, the services or the goods that you provide, so that we can connect with them and find out if there are opportunities for you to work with us.
Thank you, Renee.
And I just wanted to add that from the plan room side of things, we can connect with IT and technology companies who are sort of in the networking and construction industry side of that in terms of technical assistance, support, and programming. And then for IT companies who just provide technology services to companies and don't really get into the network wiring and cabling, et cetera. If you're interested, and actually Mr. Lindsay, I think we've already been in touch a little bit, but if you're interested in providing services or letting people know about what you have available through the plan room, we do like to connect our clients with individual service providers, and we try to focus that on minority owned and West End companies as well. So if we have clients who are looking for IT services for their company, they're welcome to come to us at the plan room and we can connect them to you.
If I may moderate the next question, and this will be both to HPI and MSD, and that will be what must be bid versus what must be sole source when trying to seek an opportunity with you guys.
Renee, you're welcome to go.
Okay. All right. So now, sole source for us means that there is if I'm buying goods or something, and there is we can only buy from one distributor that is for this region. That's what a sole source is to us. But anything that is over $30,000 has to be advertised unless you can declare it as a sole source, as I mentioned. And it'll be, or if it's a professional services, and there's another avenue for that. For goods and services that are less than $30,000, less than $10,000, it's a buyer's choice. They only have to receive one quote. So there's opportunity there. And then if it's between 10 and less than 30, then they are required to get 3 quotes. And MSD also asks that our buyers and our user departments, because they have opportunity to make purchases as well, to look for at least one minority, one female, and a majority-owned company to provide those quotes. The trick for you is, number one, if you are a diverse business, then you want to make sure that you're in MSD's database, because that's the source that they're going to look at first for those minority and women-owned companies. So it's always a good idea to connect with the purchasing department to find out who is responsible for certain commodities. You can get that information from John Allen, and of course, you can also get that information at one of our monthly How to Do Business meetings as well.
Thank you very much, Renee. And I believe this question will go to HPI. And I guess we have a question from the audience of the strategy of doing block by block redevelopment as a way to increase home value. Have you guys looked into that as an option in your development strategy?
Yeah, we sure have, and I invite Andy or Paul to weigh in on ideas as well. I did want to respond to the question about sole sourcing versus requiring competitive bids.
Please.
We too have an internal policy requiring any money spent over $10,000 to be competitive bid. As I said during our presentation, we have the volume of business that we have now, the number of projects, individual projects that we're working on. We have 20 plus individual houses being renovated right now. That, in conjunction with our internal process for creating scopes, we use that as a way to ensure we are following our policy around obtaining bids above $10,000. When you have that kind of volume on individual projects and the in-house scopes, we feel like we are accomplishing what we need to do. So we have a decent amount of flexibility with that process. Andy, do you want to talk some about?
Yeah, on the question regarding the neighborhood revitalization, trying to do the work on a block by block basis, we are definitely interested in doing that type of focused development work. We've been working with Louisville Metro government and our other local nonprofit housing development partners to try to find a way that we can increase the efficiency of how we acquire properties, and we can try to acquire properties in a much more targeted manner. So we haven't quite figured it out, but we are working towards that goal of being able to, do 4 or 5 homes on a block at a time, if not more. We're also looking at opportunities that we can in a proactive manner, work with existing homeowners that are on the streets or the blocks that may be targeted to help do some improvements to their homes as well. So it will increase the visibility of a revitalization effort plan initiative. And, you know, it may take a little bit more time to get that strategy implemented, but we're definitely interested in doing that.
Awesome. Thanks for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the, and I guess you kind of answered the next question pretty much, but of redevelopment assistance for homeowners as well as other landlords that are on the block.
There is, Louisville Metro government does have some resources available for existing homeowners and to do some improvements. And I know that New Directions Housing Corporation, which is another local housing development organization, they do more homeowner rehab work. So those opportunities are there. There is, you know, some really good legislation that's been proposed, and it may be part of this next infrastructure bill if it's passed, that would make it much easier to do revitalization work on single family homes for both home ownership and also both for existing homeowners. It's basically creating a new tax credit that would be administered through the state. So we're be super excited to see that come to fruition. It's been, you know, in process, I guess, for nearly 20 years, and it looks like it has a good shot of getting it done.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This question will go towards both all of our panelists as well as, and this goes to like the process of pre-qualifying and monitoring, is how do contractors kind of avoid the capability stereotypes?
Well, I tell you what, we try really hard not to put people in boxes and not give them opportunities. If anything, we are going to err on giving someone the opportunity, but what we don't want to do is set someone up to fail. You know, a lot of the work we're doing, I think it's a different, you know, if you compare us to MSD, we're obviously very different organizations. You know, we're gonna have a serious conversation with our contractors, our subcontractors, about their experiences, what they're comfortable doing. And we want to give people opportunity to expand, to take on more responsibility, but we don't want to set them up to fail. And so, you know, we are a small group. Paul Despain, who's on the webinar here, I might ask him to say a few words as well. Essentially, whenever someone comes through, they go to Paul Despain, and he kind of helps manage that. So.
Yeah, I will weigh in a little bit. So to Patrick's point, we find ourselves in an unusual time right now because of the pandemic and the inordinate number of structures that we have. Most years are not going to be like this for us. We've got an expiration date on the product that we have at the end of this calendar year. So we would like to spend as much time as we possibly can cultivating every single relationship, but we also have an obligation to get the product out and not leave those buildings on those streets in those neighborhoods just languishing. So I feel very comfortable with the amount of work that we've done with regard to development of minority contractor base across the board. But to Patrick's point, yeah, we do find ourselves sometimes where at their request, we have been asked, now can we stay on smaller scope jobs? And so on a case-by-case basis, we are assessing and interacting with each one of those contractors to determine what their level of acceptability is, I suppose.
Thanks very much for that.
As a public agency, you know, if you know, you bid the work with us, you know, MSD does not pre-qualify at this time. As long as you're able to bond the project, if it's bonding is required, then you know, you can be awarded a project. Now, of course, we don't want to set anybody up for failure either. So, but the expectation is that when people are bidding with us, that they do have the requisite knowledge to do the work that they're actually doing. And of course, if not, then they'll get that opportunity, but not get that opportunity again.
Thank you. I think we have the questions from our audience. Ms. Dixon, you have a statement, anything you would like to share before we end?
I did run into one other question. Somebody noted, and I think this is an industry-wide question, so nobody may have a response to it, but right now, as the construction industry has seen a lot of work going on, lumber prices are going up. Does anyone have any creative strategies that you've used with your organization in terms of supply for the contractors that you work with?
Good question, thanks.
Yeah, it is. Well, just being in procurement, we bid everything out. So we've heard from our lumber suppliers that, the price has gone up, it's difficult to get. So because we store some of those things for our internal construction groups to use, our operations staff to use, we, kind of stockpiled some of that for us. And then of course, have gotten ourselves connected with multiple companies to supply us with lumber. I'm not exactly sure what our contractors are doing, but that's what MSD is doing to make sure that we have it available for our operations crews when they go out. I'm sure this is a really good one for the housing. I'm sure I use a lot of.
Paul, do you want to take this one?
Yes, unfortunately, there's not a good answer. The cost is what the cost is. Now, having said that, we don't have the capacity to store thousands of dollars worth of 2x12s versus 2x4s versus treated versus, the different types of products. And fortunately, a lot of our renovation is plug and play, in place types of materials. So we haven't had a whole lot of new construction work going up that we've had inordinate lumber package pricing. But we have had some, and the costs are very, very noticeable. What we do is cultivate the relationships. We try to keep the money in the neighborhood as much as we can. So in particular in the West End, we spend a lot of money with Ace Hardware and try to keep those dollars down there. And by agreement, he's come to pricing terms that frankly, he's giving us better pricing than we were getting at the big box Lowe's and Home Depots for cabinet packages, et cetera. So we're pulling the best club out of the bag in every circumstance on every given day.
Thanks for that. And this question is to Renee, just for clarification on the bonding. You said the bonding increased, but this is particular to are this projects lower than $100,000? Is the bonding still required? Just give some clarification on that.
Okay, so of course, again, MSD operates under model procurement, and the thing that has changed at the state level is the requirement for bonding has gone up for certain bonds, where it starts at $100,000. It used to be at $30,000. So if it's a construction project that the bid prices come in below $100,000, if the engineer's estimate is below that, then bonding would not be required on a project. If it's greater than that, then bonding is going to take place.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. We have about 2 minutes left. We have any closing remarks that we would like to make before we end?
Yes, I just want to thank everybody for coming out this morning and spending an hour of your Saturday morning together with us. I know that we're looking forward to getting back to some in-person events at some point soon to where we can all be in the same room together and talking and making these connections. But I think all of our speakers and panelists today have been really good at talking about how you can negotiate, how you can work together with other agencies, how you can build your business through these type of collaborative partnerships. And that's what we're all about at the Plan Room. We want to help you to make those connections that you need to grow your business. So please feel free to reach out to us. Just check us out at theplanroom.org and look for where it says become a Plan Room client. And after the webinar, we'll be sharing the recording, the slides, as well as the contact information for our panelists. So please feel free to reach out to them, ask any questions that are specific to your business or specific to your ability to work with their companies, connect with them on LinkedIn, find everybody that you need to make your company successful and bring them in around you. And that's really what we're hoping everybody can do after this webinar today. So thank you everyone for your time, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom of what's going on in the industry. A special thank you to Donovan Taylor, the manager of the Plan Room, who put this webinar together today. And we're just really appreciative of everything that you're doing here at One West.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you all.
Have a
All
good
right, have a
Awesome.
good weekend.
Yes, and thanks for our partners. Thanks, Ms. Renee, Lindsay, Patrick, Andrew, and Paul. We greatly appreciate you guys coming out with us on this Saturday and sharing some valuable information. And we look forward to keeping this good working relationship with you guys with the Plan Room on helping our community just grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.